Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Neil Haley Show. And I'm excited about this author. First of all, I love his pictures in the background. Our guest today is Benton Savage. He's the author of The Stoic Alcoholic. It's not only about counting days. How are you, Benton? Thanks for stopping by.
Doing well. Thanks for having me, Neil.
All right, let's kind of just jump into this. You're an author. How long have you been an author? What books have you written?
I've been writing off and on for about 20 years, but I have four books published right now, and that's all happened in the last 2 or 3 years. I wrote for many years and did not get published. The publishing industry has kind of changed in the last 10 years, and it's been a lot more flex publishing, and I've done a little bit better with that rather than the established literary publishers.
I got it. And in that process, you're saying, okay, you've gone through the process. You've been there, done it with publishing, self-publishing. You understand the nuances. Doesn't matter either way you do it. You got to market your book. That's it, period,
Yeah.
and get it out there. And the job of an author is not just to have a team, not have a great PR team like you have, not go on all these shows. It's going out and talking to people, going out and speaking about this. Your book is your tool to make it happen, and you are the only one that can make it happen even more. And that's the big thing I try to teach authors that all the time. All right. So, why did you write this book? Tell me the whole story.
Okay. I started writing it on February 4th, 2025. And the original title was Stoic Alcoholic, the first 366 days of sobriety. I made it about 100 days, and I wrote most of those days. And I was doing really well. It was the most productive 100 days I'd had in a while. Then I fell off the wagon for a couple months, and then I didn't write, and I kind of gave up on the book. I was like, nobody wants to read about this, and I was like, well, this is really more important than the book. You're really trying to get sober here, and this was a good exercise for you. So I started writing again around July, I believe, and started writing again, and just finished off. And I changed the title from the first 366 days of sobriety to it's not only counting the days, because if you do fall, my whole point of the book is what I determined after I wrote for a year, the determination of the book was if you do have a bad day and you drink, just because you have 20 years or 3 months, you don't need to just throw in the towel and say, oh, I failed, I can't do it, I might as well just give up and keep on drinking. It's just another day. The day count is just a numerical value, and it is important to stay completely sober. But if you
Yeah.
do fall off, it's not the end of the world. It's just another day in your
Yeah,
life.
I
And
want to I want to address that because the thing is we all try to do stuff. I'm telling you about my craziness with AI and what I'm trying to do and learning all these different things to organize me and make me better, make me a better entrepreneur and business owner. And guess what? Every day I'm not going to be perfect. I'm going to fail. It's in anything, losing weight, anything. There's no perfection way in life. We all are going to have our ebbs and flows and our good days and our bad days. And I think you writing this book has told people, guess what? I am human. I go through, I try to follow all the protocol. People go through diets and they say, I'm on it, I'm on it, I'm on it. And then they hit the floor and then they think, oh, I screwed up. I ate all this stuff. I just gained 3 pounds. No, it's time to get back on and go again. And I think that's what you wanted to try to tell people is just because you're trying to end the alcoholism and stop drinking doesn't mean you're always going to be perfect and be able to just quit it cold turkey.
yes, that's exactly what it was. And like I said, it turns out that the reason people like my book is because I failed. If I just had 366 days of sobriety, okay, we're probably pretty easy for them. It was not easy. It was not easy at all. It was hard to get up. This is a diary. I wrote it day by day, and I didn't go back and change anything the next day. Like, oh, I shouldn't have written that. I just wrote what I was feeling. Sometimes it might hurt a couple people's feelings, not hurt their feelings, but just talking about my family and stuff and how I'm frustrated with them and they're frustrated with me. I just wrote it down. I was like, I'm not going to correct this. I mean, I did proofread it, but I'm not going to go out change the subject matter. I just went with it. Whatever I felt that day is what I wrote, and I just stuck with it.
Sticking with it. Okay. So let's talk about your alcoholism, the challenges you have as an alcoholic. Because again, I don't want to give away the book. I want to
Mhm.
journey people to understand this, saying, okay, I'm not like Benton. I can't do this. I'm just too stressed in life. I tried the whole Alcoholic Anonymous. I tried the plan, and every time I just get back on the wagon. But remember, it's not just any type of addiction you can learn from this book. That's for sure. Because you're telling us, what was your rock bottom moment that you knew you were an alcoholic?
I've known that for 20 years, honestly.
But
There really
what
was
was what
not a
was
rock bottom. There was not a rock bottom moment. I've been thinking about this book for about a week, and I woke up and I was really hungover. I said, let's start right now. Let's just start right now and just start writing for a year. And it really, I thought it would motivate me, and it did motivate me to stay sober. I wanted to be held accountable, and I did not respond well to AA. I've never been to rehab. I didn't. It's certainly been suggested, but I had never went to rehab. I've been to plenty of AA, and I just didn't respond well to them. I was like, well, but I really need to quit drinking if I want to have a productive life. And so I just decided to try this, and right about a couple months in, I didn't tell anybody I was doing it for the first couple months. And I ran it past a couple of friends that had been successful in AA, and like, "No, that's a pretty good idea. That might really work for you, but that's not a bad idea to be right about it every day and hold yourself accountable." If it's, but and I got an email yesterday from somebody saying it's hard to do it alone. I was like, well, when you go rock bottom, when you're as low as I am, you're pretty much alone. There's not a whole lot of people there to support you. They say they will, but I mean, really to support you. I've quit so many times, they're tired of hearing about it.
all right. So talk about so you didn't have a rock bottom moment. You just knew you're an alcoholic. Why do you think you're an alcoholic then if you didn't have a real rock bottom moment? Some of the people when they're in alcohol, they lose everything. You didn't
Well,
have that moment.
my rock bottom moment was probably lower than I've had a lot of rock bottoms. I mean, I was drinking at 6 in the morning regularly, waking up and going to the convenience store at 6 or 7, and then going to the liquor store at 9 when it opened. And I do that regularly for years and years and years. I think you can determine that you've got a problem. And you just basically when you drink alone, towards the end, I was just drinking alone. Not just, I mean, I'd go out some, but I really enjoyed drinking alone because I could get as drunk as I wanted and not worry about making a jerk out of myself. I just ended up falling asleep on my couch and then waking up. But you can't get that drunk in public because you'll get arrested probably. But running in your
Yeah.
home, you can let yourself go. And so that's really a bad thing about drinking alone. That's really, I never thought I'd drink alone. I didn't drink alone until for 20 years. Then once I started doing it, I loved it. It's the only way I wanted to drink was really alone. Just drink as much as I could and just call it a day.
And that's interesting when you talk about that. And I want to dive deeper into that process and what you're going through and the process. It's interesting because you hit that you say you knew you're an alcoholic, you did these certain things. What made you want to change? If you said because you're getting up at 6 in the morning drinking, but what made you
Well,
want to change? Yeah.
well, what really motivated me in the beginning of the book, because it ultimately comes down to yourself, is I'm still, I'm not as close with my mother and sister as I'd like, and it has all to do with my drinking. And not only just the drinking, but my behavior with drinking. I've kind of got a hot temper. I'll send like 20 text messages when I'm drinking. They're like, okay, that's enough. And that kind of thing. And also, I got a dog at the same time. And I called, in AA, they have a higher power. And I got a dog about the week after I started. And this was planned, not planned before the book, but planned to have the dog. And so I was like, my last dog died in a car wreck, not because I was drinking at the time, but I had a seizure, probably from withdrawal from alcohol, and the dog didn't make it. So that was 3 years ago. I'm terribly injured from it. Not terribly injured, but injured from it. And I was like, I am not going to take on another dog until I can walk my dog again, until I'll be sober enough to take care of my dog. And I've done a good job with her, and she is right here beside me. And well, no, she's not actually, but she's been a big help. But yes, I did it mainly for my mother and sister. But the dog I called her my higher power in the beginning. But really, it comes down, the dog's not going to work out for you. It's a higher power. It's got to come in between. Whether you believe in a higher power or not, it really comes, ultimately, you just got to say, just say no. It's not easy.
Just say no. So you drank at 6 o'clock in the morning. What was your drinking type of thing? How many drinks would you have in an entire day?
Well, when I was going to store at 6 o'clock in the morning, I'd buy a 12 pack of beer, and then I'd drive and go get another 12 pack of beer and call it a case of the day. Yeah. And then, but what I was doing towards the end was buying a fifth of liquor, and I'd start off my day with a fifth of liquor, and pretty much my day would end either passed out or with a fifth of liquor gone beside me. I would remember finishing the fifth of liquor. I would do that regularly.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Yeah.
So the question I have is what drives you to drink? What is the thing
Um,
that drives you to drink?
I always say it's boredom, but just a way to pass the time. I do have my own business, and it didn't really hurt my business much because I own a Airbnb rental management company, and I could get by with it. But I mean, really just to pass the time. I still have time. When I'm in the airport, it's still tough, because you got that little extra time. And I used to always drink in the airport. Now, when I go into the airport, it's like, okay, no drinking in the airport because you just want to pass that hour or two before you get on the flight. And there's really
So
nothing else
you
to
have
do.
an entrepreneur mindset, but you can't keep yourself busy enough. That's honest truth. This is my check on you. You get
Yes,
bored.
honest truth. I mean, I write books and I'm an entrepreneur, and I try to keep myself as busy as possible. And I sleep 3 hours a night,
Oh, that's not
unfortunately. So
good. So
I got
yeah.
20 hours a day to occupy myself.
I
And
wish I got
really,
20 hours, but I think I would pass out if
well,
I tried to
it's
do that 20 hours because I mean, 3 hours is what is
three or
the
four
reason?
hours. Honestly, I sleep 3 or 4 hours a night. Yes.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
that's probably why you drank, right? Do you sleep more
Yes.
when you drink?
Not really, but so a little bit. It helps me fall asleep, but I don't sleep more necessarily.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
crazy. It's crazy. The sleeping thing was a real problem, is a real problem. And it
Is it
continues to be a
still
real
right
problem.
now? Right now it is like that.
Yeah, I
Oh
slept from
my
11 to, I've been up since 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my gosh. I run this for the business times because I just go crazy and say I got to get this
Yeah.
done, this done, this done, and I
Yeah.
just pass out and I can sleep so much, it just like sleep like a baby. I could fall asleep right now if I wanted to. Meaning I'm because I am able to sleep, but I feel for you in this way that you're bored. And especially I guess if you're not sleeping, you have to find and preoccupy your time. So alcohol gave you that opportunity to preoccupy your time at times, it sounds like.
Yes, I hate to use the word bored because that sounds kind of conceited, but it really is just trying to, not bored, trying to fill my time. I can always find something to do, but drinking is pretty fun when you got some extra hours in.
100%.
It's a bad cycle. It's what it is. You get in a cycle and you can't get out of it.
Okay. So for people out there, you're not this great story. It's happened. The reason you've written this book and put all this together is to show people you struggle all the time to not drink. Are
Mhm.
you on a pace of not drinking for a while right now?
Yes, I'm doing. Yes, I've gone like 3 weeks, and I feel that, which is a pretty good stint. I went like 3 months before that, and I had a birthday and kind of some good news on the front of my writing and stuff. And I was like, "Ooh, you can maybe sneak one more in." So I
So
snuck
what's
one
the good
more in
news on your
before I could
writing?
be a hypocrite walking around with. I can't be walking around with a book called The Stoic Alcoholic with a martini in my hand.
So
Um,
tell me what was the good news on your writing?
just just six getting invited on shows like you and just sales numbers and things like that, just feedback I was getting after 20 years of writing and having some feedback. And I like to think I'm a good writer. It's just competitive market and hard to get your name out there if you're just average guy from Florida. And it's just finally it's kind of coming together. But like you said, you got to market your book, and that costs money and everything else. And it's just a process. But yeah, I've started to have some success on a couple of my books. I've had 4 books out in 2 years, so they're just kind of coming together really quick, and just they're kind of mounting up where it's like all of a sudden I'm developing a tiny name in the business.
Well, I think that it's intriguing about how you're putting yourself out there as the Stoic alcoholic. And so defining Stoic alcoholic, Stoicism, people sometimes don't are not into understanding what Stoic means.
Mhm.
Define Stoic for our listeners and viewers who might not know what Stoic is.
Well, the way I define it, there's like three principles. The way I look at it is it's about living a good life about doing the right thing and getting satisfaction out of doing just the right thing. You don't need somebody telling you, yes, you're doing great, because you know you're doing well. It's like holding a door for an older person. This is a bad example, but holding a door, that's a nice thing to do, and you feel good about doing it. But it's by constantly doing those little things in your life, much more than that, that you just feel good about yourself. And you're not drinking alcohol and doing the right thing, you feel good about yourself. So it's really, to me, Stoicism is about just living a good life and doing the right thing. It's very simple
Right.
principles. It's very much a common sense philosophy. There's nothing
No,
groundbreaking. They just put it into words very
100%.
well. They
I
just put
mean,
it into words very well.
it makes me understand what you're saying. And as that alcoholic, do you think you are motivated enough not to drink anymore and kind of get that gone completely from you?
Yes and no. Yes, because they say in AA, it's day by day. You got to take it day by day. And I said to one person, I was like, really, you got to take it minute by minute, because sometimes I'll just wake up that day, be fine, running around, and then
Oh,
all of a sudden I decide, oh, I think I need a drink, and just run out the door, run to the liquor store. In 5 minutes, I decide, I break a 3 month long, stint, and just break it right there in a second. So it's really second by second with me. I mean, I can be so. What's the word I'm looking for here? So spontaneous about going to just getting it. I mean, and the liquor store's a mile away, and I can just drive down there, no stoplights, I'm there, and I can make that decision in no time. So it's really tempting to, it's tough. But yes, I think I will do it. I think I will do it. I mean, the goal is to be. I mean, don't get me wrong, counting days is important, but I mean, ultimately, most people don't make it that long, make it forever. I mean, so
no.
you got to let it go. I mean, you hear about guys 20 years on their 20th year, like, oh, just have a drink. And then they go 10 years and they ruin it. Then you got to take a step back and, a day or two and go, let's get back on it, because you will fall apart. And they always say that for an alcoholic that goes a while without drinking, when they come back, they want to make up for lost time.
Oh,
They
no.
want to make up for lost time. And
That's not
actually,
good to make up for last time.
no, and
Yeah.
actually, I wrote about this in the book. When I was several months sober, I was like, I got to thinking, I wish I drank more when I was drinking, which would almost be impossible. But I really wished I drank more. And I looked into it, got on the internet, and got on there, and I'm like, that is kind of a phenomenon. I was not the first one to feel that. A lot of alcoholics are like, when they're sober, they're like, God, I wish I just drank more when I was drinking. It's really a weird phenomenon.
Oh man. I'm gonna go to other books today because I like to give my authors a half hour interview to get that conversation, especially when some of the celebrities don't get a half hour with me. Isn't that interesting? The reason is, and you're like,
Yes.
oh wow, you got the spot. We're gonna have a conversation and we're gonna work through this. Now, are there things in your life that you're thankful for? I'm asking this question just to kind of for people that read this book and say you keep going on. Is it something to do self-medicating that you're drinking so much? You said boredom is your ultimate reason. Um,
Well,
yeah.
I describe in the book the first time I drank when I was about 14 or 15 years old. I was at a boarding school, and we snuck off campus and got some old man to buy us a 12-pack of beer. And really, from that moment on, from that night on, my life has changed completely.
Oh
I mean,
man.
my weekends have always been, ever since that time, basically all my social plans have been around, when can I get my next drink in? Of course, when I was younger, it was only during the weekends. But as you get older, you get more freedom, you got more money, you can start drinking more and more. But really, from that moment I drank, first got drunk. It's my whole life is focused around that.
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it really has. And
I
I
mean,
mean, and my
wow.
motivation has stepped down. I'm still a fairly successful human, but I mean, I was like a really good athlete then, and slowly but surely my athletics kind of fell apart, and slowly but surely. I mean, it took years and
So
years and years, but
what sports did you play?
I ran cross country and track was my main sport. So I was like seventh in the country when I started drinking, and now, uh, since my car accident, I can't run at all.
Okay.
So I went from seventh in the country as a 14-year-old in the mile to now I am no longer running at all, can't run a step, and I could honestly blame drinking for that accident, even though I was not drinking at the time of the accident. It was most likely withdrawal from alcohol that gave me the seizure.
There's a lot of people that drink for one reason. They just can't deal
Mm-hmm.
with life. That's
Mm-hmm.
one reason. and I want you to give them feedback for this reason. And I want to get to
Mm-hmm.
your other books, and then we're going to kind of
Mm-hmm.
go to a little. We'll find out some of your other books that you so people can purchase all your books from doing this show. That's first thing. That's the number one thing is they just can't deal with life. That's why they drink. Secondly, they have a serious problem that's going on. Can't deal with life, serious problem. Third, they're self-medicating. How many of those things are you? And what feedback would you give to somebody else that's going through one of those and to choose not to use alcohol instead?
Well, you said you were going to talk about one of my other books, and it kind of goes into that. Is
Oh,
that
let's
I
do
am
it. Let's roll it.
I,
Yeah.
my other book that was published right before Stoic Alcoholic is called Wrong Side Out: Madness Misdiagnosed, and I was diagnosed as bipolar for 20 years, and then was drinking, I guess, to self-medicate to
You
calm
de-
down, and then I eventually got uh, diagnosed with schizophrenia, an extreme case of OCD. Now, the schizophrenia, surprisingly, because it sounds so awful, can surprisingly be fairly well medicated, at least in my sense, can be fairly well medicated with modern medicine. They got so many drugs out there now that most people can kind of deal with it. But the OCD is a whole different thing. And that's where the drinking comes into play. The OCD, once you get something in your head, it's hard to get it out. Once you get this
yeah.
behavior going, my OCD is really bad. Like when I was telling you, I send 20 texts, I do that kind of behavior, just repeated behavior over and over. It's like, oh, it's so frustrating to deal with. It's very effective. Like when you want to be
Wow.
a writer in your OCD, that works well. You want to be a long distance runner in your OCD, that works well. You want to be in a relationship with a family member or friend or girl, it doesn't work so well. It's very frustrating to deal with that person. And I mean, it takes a very patient person to deal with me. And I do have had some patient people. I mean, I'm not terrible to be around, but it's just you got to realize every once in a while I'm going to do my little thing, and it's going to be very frustrating.
Wow.
Now I'm not talking about my drinking thing. I'm talking
Yeah.
about my
So what is
OCD
that book
thing.
called? What is that book called? Because I think that's an
Called
important
Wrong
one.
Side Out: Madness Misdiagnosed. That was actually written in 2010 or 11 when I got out of the mental hospital the last time. And when I wrote it then, it was called Wrong Side Out: The Bipolar Experience. And I could not get it published. I lived in New York City at the time, tried it everywhere to get it published, had some interest, but nobody was interested in publishing it. Sat on it for 10 or 12 years. A couple of friends read it later that Benton, this is really good. You've really got to follow up on this. So that book was written, minus the epilogue where I described 10 years. That book was written in 2010 or 2011 and was not published until 2025. And the only difference is the 10-page epilogue where I describe what I did the 10 years in between.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been a lot. So yeah,
So
I've been self-medicating.
it's schizophrenia is really what you have.
Yeah, and extreme OCD.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And do you think it has to do with childhood PTSD too? Do you think you have some PTSD and some
No,
childhood trauma
I
at all?
think no, I don't. I mean, I had a very normal childhood. I mean, both parents were married and all that. I mean, my dad died young, but I mean, I was not in abuse. I was not abused or anything like
So
that.
that's
I
really
think it's. I think
interesting.
it's a chemical. I think it was born. I mean, I continually think I was born with it. Now they say it's partly your parents, and partly partly genetic. But I mean, that's your parents, so I blame it on my parents. I throw it past them a little bit. Of course, I mean, I'm joking. I take responsibility, but my mom's like, no, it's not me. There's nobody else in my family that's really mentally ill, and I'm like, well, I got it from somewhere. This didn't come from thin air,
No,
and
it's not. And this is me listening to this and saying, wow. And so I think that's where you have the entrepreneur mindset to always be doing something because you have to get your mind off of being OCD
yes,
and schizophrenic,
yes.
all those different areas. So other books, that book sounds intriguing as heck. I recommend, I don't know who you're seeing about that schizophrenia because that's probably why you're still an alcoholic because
Hmm.
you've not figured out the right medication to fix that problem
Well,
or to produce. Yeah, go on.
I am on the right medication now, but for 20 years I was not. And now I'm doing a lot better. Yes, I'm on the correct medication now, but it was very frustrating 20 years because I didn't, bipolar, I mean, schizophrenia is a lot different than bipolar. And if you read the book, what's so frustrating is when I called it the bipolar experience, if you actually read the book, which clearly nobody professional did, it was clear that I was not bipolar. I mean, it's clear that I was like different. That was not maybe schizophrenic, but definitely not. I mean, my friend that told me to publish, he's like, he was bipolar. He's like, you know, you're not bipolar, Benton. I had spoken to him in 20 years. He's like, you know, you're not bipolar. I was like, yeah, I know. And he's like, oh, okay. I just want to make sure you knew that because it says because he read it under the title, The Bipolar Experience. When I shared it with him, I hadn't changed the title. He's like, you know, you're not bipolar. I was like, I know, I just hadn't changed the title. He's like, well, you're not.
Wow.
So, I mean, anybody who had read it who was professional should have known that, should have been able to
Wow.
recognize it. I just couldn't get it. It's hard to get somebody to read your books, even your family and friends. It's hard to get somebody to read that kind of book because it's not a feel good book. So, like Alcoholic's pleasurable to read. Madness Misdiagnosed is painful. I mean, it's awful. I mean, there's
I mean,
suicide
it's
attempts.
really intriguing. Have you other books you've written? You've had suicide attempts, and that's all.
Yeah.
See, that's got to make you so frustrated, and that's why you want to drink. Is this had nothing to do with your family life? This is nothing
No.
about childhood trauma, and this is something for people to think about. There's something wrong with me. There's something about just chemistry wise, and it could
Yes.
be literally the food. There's so many weird things that go on, or specific things in sports. If I said you played football, maybe it was concussions, but you didn't play football. So all that. So there's just so much, but that's where people don't know what people are dealing with. And that's why those two books. Any other books you have, Benton, that people should know about?
Yes. Well, I've got several books coming out. I've got 4 books coming out, but the other one I have published is called Free and Satisfied. And it's a novel set during COVID. During COVID, it's set in Memphis. It's about a interracial relationship between a white guy and a young white guy and a young black woman during COVID, set in Memphis. It's not really a relationship. It is a relationship, but it's not like a love story. It's more of just like a friendship that was more than a friendship, and it's doing pretty well. It's really good. I like the whole thing is like he really. I think the kicker of it is that everybody's wearing a mask during this time. Even in Memphis, this is set at the Peabody Hotel, which is a very famous hotel in the South. And he falls for this girl before he doesn't fall in love with her, but he falls very interested in her before she even takes off her mask.
Oh, so are
So he
you
asked
from
her
Memphis,
out before
Tennessee?
she Memphis, Tennessee. I'm from Cleveland, Tennessee, which is on the other side of the state, but I'm from Tennessee, yes. And I
Are
spent
you from? Uh, you know, I wrestled beat Jerry the King Lawler in Arkansas, and I wrestled in the Mid South Coliseum against Jerry the King Lawler.
Oh, you did? No, I did not know that.
Yeah,
No, he does have a place down there on Beale Street, though. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
Jerry Lawler.
did you
I
ever
know
go
exactly who
to
Jerry
any
Lawler is.
wrestling
Hollywood, all
shows
that.
in the Mid South Coliseum? Coliseum when you lived there?
I have never lived in Memphis,
Oh,
actually.
oh, where
I have never lived there, but
are you from Arkansas? Because you have the accent sounds
I'm
Tennessee or
from
Arkansas.
Tennessee. I'm from Southeast Tennessee.
Okay.
So I knew about Memphis, but really the reason I changed it is because this was kind of a true story. I did kind of fall for a girl in a hotel in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, but it was in a Quality Inn hotel. And I changed it. I was like, well, the Peabody Hotel is awesome. And Memphis is a very black town. It just made a lot more sense to have it in Memphis than Quality Inn in Fort Walton Beach, which is not romantic at all. I mean, the Peabody Hotel's awesome. It's got a duck
Was
mark
it
every day.
interracial? Was it interracial?
Yes, it was interracial. It was a black woman and a white guy. And yeah, and it's kind of based on a true story. In fact, I dedicated the book to this girl who I have not seen in 5 years. But when I finished the book, I was like, who else could I dedicate it to? I can't dedicate it to the girl I'm dating now. That's
So
for sure.
so you even are dating somebody. So even if you have good things going in your life, a business, you're not
Hmm.
struggling. That's for sure. You are the only thing you're struggling is if somebody would tell you, and going talk therapy is not going to help either because it's all your chemistry of your brain, which is
Hmm.
the big thing that people have to understand is. And if you're an
Hmm.
alcoholic and you're self-medicating, go get that help. That's for sure. Where can people get all these books? Because I mean, you're an intriguing story in so many ways,
Thank
and you
you.
come out here only 3 weeks into dealing with as an alcoholic. But where can people go?
Amazon, that's where I mean you can buy it's available in some local bookstores. It's definitely available in Barnes and Noble, but I haven't bought a book at a local bookstore in years. I just buy everything from Amazon or it's either given to me. One, so I mean Amazon. All my books are available on Amazon, and that's where I buy and that's where I tell everybody. I mean that's where you can rate my book if you want to rate it, and that's where I would buy the book, and it's very well available. It's gotten good reviews. It's very well reviewed books.
All right, Ben, we really appreciate it. Great stuff. Appreciate you coming on the show, and best of luck in your ventures.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Neil.
You're listening and watching The Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.